See the day descending. My lights are still not green. All the lights are changing now, so the stream can be seen. The mic's a bit far away, but that's a bit better now, 'cause I know that I'll get louder when I start to talk. But how? Alright, everything's online. Right place. Then got to make a blank scene to draw upon. About whatever with today. Here. This dream tonight. You need here. Hey CTK. Isn't enough. Make kings serve bigger bones. Live in harmony. Meow. All right. Ah! 10. Should have tested. Oops. Quick. And seems to work. This is save. Oh, come on now. Go. Good to go on this. Save once again. It's all good. Buttons are in the right place. Time is it? 8:31. Stream has begun. Glasses are dirty and I can't see it all. All right. Okay. Right, okay. What? Phone is in. Ripley, are you available? Hey, sweetest day, Joe. All right. Why is it? It takes until I look at my Ripley screen before I realize all the things that I have forgotten and or have remembered. I think I've got something to drink. I've got my mouse. I've got my pen. Audio output is set correctly. It's been too long since I've done this. Meow. 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 I know, it's kind of like a bike rip, but, you know, I haven't really been thinking about the bike for too long. I've mostly spent the last week on the couch. Making stuff. Watching TV. But I think that's it. I think we're ready. Right? Meow. 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 All right then. Okay. I'm gonna press the button. Oh, snaps, and see what happens. If I'm in the right place still. Oh man. And main camera. Hey, it seems to work. Hey CTK and whoever else is floating around there in the peripherals. Welcome to 2021. I almost said 20,021. That's leagues under the sea. Welcome back. Your dreams are your ticket out. You could be a Travolta, and then more Travolta. You don't see me. Uh-oh. Can you see Space Goonie and avocado shakes? Is this just a YouTube thing? It must just be a YouTube thing. Cause yeah, near as I can tell, all systems are go. I'm gonna grab my phone. Forgetting you can see me, so that's fine. Let's go over to YouTube. and see if I can see, because possibly you just might need to Pat Prue subscribing to you. Pat Prue subscribing for 3. That's Pat and Space Goonie and the Chipmunks. Let's go to my channel and see if press this. Yep, I can hear and see myself. Yep. So in theory, yeah, if you just shut down YouTube and open it back up again, maybe it'll work again. As I hear myself say that to myself. And has to be. Yeah. There you go. A yay means everything is okay. Where's Milo? Sometimes yay could be read as yeah with the capital and small letter A, so maybe it's a yeah. This is not working out well. I can't see anything. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's a yay. It's you see, because then it says it's not you, it's me. Not you, so that means it's a okay again. So it's a yay and not a yeah. It just seems presumptuous to me to just go assuming that a yay is not a ya, or a hey is not a hey, and a yoo-hoo is not a yoo-hoo. Because, sometimes things can be foreboding and mean. Sometimes, yeah. But not in this time, I don't think. Anyway, I've got about 1,000 things to talk about. Might just end up talking about Gremlins 2 for an hour. While we come up with a comic strip that's probably going to be about building a snow person. What's going on? That was weird. My brush thickness was 1,000 times bigger than it's supposed to be, but yeah, you know how things go. Sweetest angel? Meow, 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 meow. How come I'm never the sweetest angel? I mean, I'm over here being an angel. I got my nice hot mug of angel juice over here that's just like, makes me feel all warm inside, like a Grinch, except after the heart growing part. So I'm basically a Christmas miracle over here. I mean, I don't have any wings, but if I had wings, I would fly higher than an eagle, and then I would also, as I flapped, be the wind beneath your wings. So I mean, that's pretty sweet. Uh-oh, there's the cops. Probably an ambulance. It's usually an ambulance. But anyway, you're not an angel. You're the worst angel. You're the evilest demon. Really, you're pretty much pure evil. And if you buy the No Such Thing as Grown Ups comic, the next one will be called MrCurtoons. You'll see how horrific and evil he is, and I'm the good guy in 90% of the comics. Sometimes I'm the bad guy and he's the good guy, but for the most part, he's pure evil. Anyway, Ripley, intro, please. Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening to me. Oh, thank you, in-studio audience. Thank you. That was a good crossfade, huh? I'm getting better at cutting at the right time. If I pay attention to what's happening, you can keep control of what is happening. Oh, snaps and bananas. BANANAS. So a new year has begun. Christmas festivities have taken place. I spent most of the week before Christmas trying to convince myself that I can get into my car, drive for 3 hours, visit my mom for a few days, and come home. We're in the same bubble. We're in a province with little to no case activities, and I mean, everybody else is doing all the things, and I'm still mostly sequestering myself to a very small number of people, i.e., I saw my mom and my brother and his girlfriend. And then when I came back, hung out with CTK for the New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. And but still, like literally, no exaggeration whatsoever. You know what that means? Serious camera, Pat. Like literally got half the stuff that I was bringing, my luggage, put it in the car. Half of the Christmas presents I was bringing home, put it in the car. Not that it was a ton, but it's like one big thing for my mom and a few little things for my brother, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's kids. And I put some of them in the car, and I came upstairs and I sat in my chair just out there and was just like, well, I can't do this. I can't just go somewhere during, if somebody happens to be watching this in the future, during, pandemic times. It just seems crazy. Also, the first thing when I open up my Instagram in the morning and do a quick little scroll of random stuff, it was like, hey, no excuse you can come up with is good enough for keeping people safe by staying home. Just stay home. I hear you and I believe you, but I don't know. This is weird. This is also coming from other provinces, other parts of the country slash world where things are much more crazy and hectic. But still, I literally sat there, called my mom to just be like, "Hey, I don't know if I can do this," but she wasn't there. So instead of, "Hey, I don't know if I can do this," I was like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna finish putting stuff in the car." And as discussed earlier, I'll see how close I can make it to Cape Breton and without turning around. And I mean, as much as I'm sure she's like, yeah, he's not going to turn around. That's crazy. He's not that crazy. Like, no. All these discussions that we have about how I'm a little bit crazy and scared of things, this is like the scariest thing is I don't want to go home and be like, anyway, here's what I brought home with me, viral outbreaks or whatever. But messaging Tim at the same time, just being like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And he was like, yeah, you can do it. Like, if you make it past the causeway or whatever, like, you'll be fine. Like, I don't know if I can make it down to the car. I can't make it down to the car, but we'll see. We'll see. So I made it back down to the car, and I did it. I've got a nice little hatchback that allows me to drive from here all the way home without stopping anywhere. I don't need to get gas or anything. I do usually like to get a bunch of snacks and eat on the way, but this time I was like, nope, no deal. Could really use a stop at a bathroom somewhere, but I'm not going to do that. That's just not going to happen. It's not physically, it's physically possible, not mentally possible for me at this juncture in this festive season. So it was fully like, when's the last time I pulled off to the side of the road and peed in the woods? Like so long ago, so many years ago. I was like, I guess I'm gonna do that. But since it is a weird time, uh, uh, that it is, there was like no traffic, and then also in the weirdness that is global warming. There was no snow, there was no weather. It was like a nice spring drive, so that kind of broke my brain. At a certain point, I turned the radio on instead of podcast and listened to some Christmas music. In the last like 40 minutes of my drive or so, I was just like, "This is great," but also, why am I listening to Christmas music? This seems a bit insane. Oh yeah, Christmas still hasn't happened yet. Um, so uh, so anyway, I made it home and still didn't feel great about it. Like literally, like the closer I got, the more my face broke out into just pure redness of like just pimples and eczema and whatever else your face has the ability to do. And I got home and was like, oh man, oh my face is so broken out. Like I just I drank some pop last night and I drank pop on the way here, and I've just been eating candy all day, but I'm super broke out like between my home and my mom's home. And my mom was like, you sure it's like candy and chocolate and not just your nerves?" Oh yeah, that's definitely what it is. That's exactly what it is. So like by the time I left, my face unbroke out quite a bit, and then once I got home, like literally, like I feel like 20 minutes after I got home, it was just like, zoop, like, guess I'll just sit down and eat some fistfuls of turtles because I got a box of turtles for Christmas. So I'm just gonna sit on the couch and eat most of a box of turtles. Turtles are great. And yeah, I do right. Nope, this one, can't quite tell. Yeah, this one. It's hard with the flipness. Um, it's pretty much dried up now, but same deal. This eyebrow here is just like gross. Barely see it now, but yeah, there's some flakiness underneath this eyebrow. Don't get old, kids. Don't get old. Stay young forever. Find some sort of magic. Download yourself into some kind of utopia or whatever that show is, and just stay young forever. Getting old is it's too scary. It's too scary and too dumb. Can I stay? I think I'll be forever young, forever young. Cause if I do start to get old for whatever reason, you just redraw me with bigger eyes and cute this baby up a couple of notches and take the years off quite easily. Correct? Correct? Yeah, that's correct. That's why we make art. That's why we make things. That's why if you get ads for cameos, and if you don't know what a cameo is, it's dumb. But a cameo is like an app, I guess, but you can go on there and pay different prices for various celebrities to send a very poorly recorded message to you or your friends. And I've yet to see one that seems worth any money whatsoever, unless you really, really love that celebrity. And when I say celebrity, it's gotten to a point where it's like, I know I don't have a bunch of followers. I'm not a huge deal, but I feel just as precious as some of these people because it's just like who that's not even a real person, that's just some YouTube character. How come Milo doesn't have a cameo? That's crazy talk. But so that's what cameo is. And I got distracted by filthiness on my drawing tablet. um So like so far when I do hear about them, people do sound happy with getting their cameos. But I completely forgot the tirade that I was easing into when I stopped to explain what a cameo is. When I scroll through and see the ads for cameo, the cameos are the thing is the lost my train of thought. Global warming, visiting people, genuinely don't know why I drifted down the avenue that is Cameo. If I watch back this later, I'll be like, oh, that's where I was going. Obvious to me, because it's still up here somewhere. But uh, and yeah, CTK recommended getting some Vino baby cream for eczema, and I did, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Um, yeah, it's not coming. Not coming back. Was it something you said? Probably. I mean, I was all over here going how I'm forever young. Oh, that's what it is, the forever young thing. That's probably, is that it? That's definitely it, because I mean, it's what I said. So anything that you need to say probably comes from something that I said. So I'm quite awe-inspiring. A little bit. Out of annoyance comes things to think about. Yeah, when you scroll through and see the cameo ads, so often very old celebrities, specifically Chevy Chase, but a lot of old celebrities have like their pinnacle, young, most famous headshot from their history, from their career, and it's just like, I've watched Community. I know what Chevy Chase looks like now. I saw a commercial. I guess it was a car commercial where a bunch of people, maybe his own family as well, were reenacting the lighting of the house scene from Christmas Vacation, and I'm gonna say it was a very poor rendition of it. It just seemed like, oh god, you guys are just being paid to be here. Like, oh, excuse me, this isn't even fake excitement. This is, you guys seem tired. But yeah, um, that's why I thought about Cameo. A lot of people that are just fully like, yeah, no, huh? Do you want a cameo from this person? Like that would be amazing. But I'm doubting that Chevy Chase is using deepfake technology to record his cameos. So you're gonna get an old Chevy Chase who hates you. He does. That's just a fact. He hates everything and everybody. And I used to very much love Chevy Chase and think he was the funniest thing in the world. But apparently, on Christmas Vacation, um, is that a Richard Donner film? Robert Zemeckis, Richard Donner, one of those guys. Anyway, apparently the director like tried to quit like more than one time because it's just like Chevy's impossible and he's mean. He's just mean and he's impossible. And if you watch anything about movies that Chevy Chase is involved in, it's the same backstory on every one of those projects. Is he's very mean and he doesn't like anybody and we don't like him. So that was something that I learned over Christmas break. But I did anyway come back around. I made it to my mom's place. I peed in the woods, and and then I don't. I'll just say the words that were said. Uh, Sat there and my mom was fully again like can tell like my level of concern and fear and to calm me down to make me feel better made sure to explain to me hey little guy doesn't call me that hey little guy um you don't need to be so worried because you don't go anywhere, you keep yourself fairly locked away, you don't really do much except go to the grocery store and if anything you should be more worried that or not even more worried. If anything, you'll get something from us. You won't give something to us, so it won't be your fault. If we do get COVID, it's going to be our own fault and not yours because we go to work, we do this, we do that, and blah blah blah. Like that that doesn't that doesn't make me feel better. It makes me feel less responsible a little bit, which that's an increment of better. But still, the idea that is just like I I also don't want to get COVID from you, but ugh, COVID life is getting exhausting. And of course, open up the news today, and it's all about hey, we're shutting down all kinds of places again, because it's getting out of control. It's just getting out of control again. So yay, yay! And I saw that today as well, where it's just like, uh, um, I want to call her Avocado Sharks. Sharky. Hail Green Star on Instagram. Laser Sharks. There we go. Laser Sharks saying that. We're just like, oh, like we're back into orange again. No more seeing any people, and back to sequestering in New Brunswick. And it's just like, oh, geez. Like again, Nova Scotia still the best, still winning at surviving. 2020. I don't even know. There's just so many things to survive. Um, this year, last year, but last week I got home and then was like, I'm gonna do so many things. I'm just gonna work on so many projects. I'm gonna revamp stuff, make things, draw things, and it's gonna be great. My brother gave me a Lego set of I guess it's technically kind of a Sandman, but that was the fake out. from the trailers for Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes, Far From Homecoming, where Mysterio had all of the like concretey things and pieces of street and sand and whatever turned to a big monster. So my brother got me that, which comes with a little Mysterio character, which is great. But the creature itself has all these ball joints. It's all ball joints. So it's like basically a maquette, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. And spent half the week just staring at it, just wanting to animate it, and also, convincing myself if I'm going to do that, I should work on some of my other stop motion projects or things that I've been wanting to do, or any of the things. But mostly, I was like, you know what? I'm just not going into my office. And by not going into my office, I mean not walking through that door that's 3 feet away from me right now, and just being in my living room for once. And if I'm gonna work on something, it's got to be something I could do on the couch. Hmm. So one thing I did work on was my little stop motion guy head, because every time I looked at it, it was like, ah, I liked how I went about it, but there's certain structural things that I'm just like, I wish I had done differently, and I can't just modify it. I'll have to just start it over. So I should just start it over and got it in my head like this won't take that long at all. I already did it once, and I'm just gonna redo it. So original head, and that's just with a bead in there instead of the eye, because I put the eye in the new one. And then finally made a new head. He still needs some felting done and some structure and some glue. But he's mostly there. This is like after a few days, so on Instagram you can kind of see the process of making a clay kind of skeleton, putting some wire in that so his brow, same as the other guy, can go up and down, and his mouth can open and close. And compared to this one, oh, it just looks so much better. And then like just the shape of this head is just better. It's just better. It's just better. So in my head, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna finish the whole body the other day, and I barely even touched that. I just started putting some padding on it. Um, so someday I'll make some little, or at least one little short film with him, if I ever finish that off and stop getting distracted by other things like playing with Lego for several hours. But the other reason I didn't fill my Instagram with stuff all week long was I have no idea. I have zero idea. But like last Tuesday, because I didn't do the stream, but Tuesday was when I noticed. I don't even know. Like the day before, I was doing some doodling, but it was just like my hand is just kind of crampy or something. Like it feels like my finger is swelling. Like it's not. It definitely isn't. Like I didn't do anything to hurt my finger that I can think of, but it feels like I smashed my finger and it's swelling. But it looks normal, but it does feel kind of sore the more I draw. Like maybe just take a break. So took a break. And then the next day, which was Tuesday, I was like, all right, let's finish putting this Lego thing together. Kept putting that together, putting that together. And then after a while, I was just like, like holding things it hurts. It hurts. Like this finger it really feels like my finger is crazy swollen, but it definitely isn't just by looking at it. And then after a while, it just kept getting tighter and tighter and more sore. And then I just like put my hands over top. I'm like, oh yeah. This finger is definitely bigger than this finger over here. Yeah, my finger is swollen. I definitely did something. I assume, I have to assume, it could have been just about anything taken to the garbage. I was doing some cleaning and whatever. Maybe I jammed it in a doorway. uh, in the hallway closet there. There's, a bunch of just stuff there kind of jammed in the way that I was like, I should clean this out, but I didn't. So the non-cleaned out closet could easily cause me to jam my finger in something when I'm moving something in or out. But the most likely was bringing in my luggage and carrying bags and just jam my finger in something. And in the moment, when you're like, ow, well, in the middle of something, I'll deal with that pain later. And just didn't think about it for a day or two. And yeah, so that was last Tuesday. But yeah, last Tuesday. And I'm just like, my finger just hurts. Like, I'm just gonna put some ice on it and eat some ibuprofen. So I did, and then the swelling started to go down, and I'm like, all right, that's what I should have done probably yesterday when I didn't realize I did it. So it felt better after a while. Then it's like, let's just keep taking a break. Lots of streamers seem to be taking the week off. Everybody's taking the week off. I'm gonna, for once, just gonna lay here and watch movies until my neck hurts a lot from laying on the couch. Um, but I did a little bit of doodling and whatnot, so the Instagram wasn't completely dead. Um, and once I got into work on Monday, yesterday, taking a break really makes a pretty big difference. I have to say, I was just like, oh my god, I'm actually excited to draw all this stuff, um, because I haven't really drawn anything and haven't sat at a computer, haven't sat at my computer or any computer for a week. So like this is fun. This is fun, and getting back into doing the things. Now then, before I went home, and after, but before it was time to watch some Christmas movies. So of course, watched some Die Hard while I wrapped stuff and did some things. Watched some Die Hard 2 at one point. Watched Batman Returns. Still, still really enjoy Batman Returns. It's just not getting old for me, and I don't think it will. Lots of parts of it where I'm like, this is crazy, but still in a super fun way. And of course, Gremlins. Every year, Christmas time, I'm like, I just want to watch Gremlins. Why it's not on? Last year I had Netflix and it wasn't on Netflix. This year I've got Amazon, and it wasn't really on Amazon unless you want to like rent it or pay more money. I'm just like, I'm too cheap for that. And if I want to watch some movies for free, I'll have to come in here, and I don't want to do that. I want to watch it on my TV. So scrolling through, and it was like, hey, well, on this channel we've got Gremlins, we've got Gremlins 2, we've got Die Hard, we've got Die Hard 2, we've got all the things basically that you want to watch for Christmas. But it was on like Stars. Yeah. So like the added channel with Amazon is you can add a bunch of other little channels, but it's like, hey, why not have the month free trial? You only want to watch like 2 days worth of movies, so you'll be done with that in a month, and you won't have to pay anything. You cheap old man. And I was like, good deal, TV, good deal. Let's free month that away, and yeah, it had all the things that I wanted to watch, and life was good. Die Hard 2, still amazing. I now still, once I found out that John Leguizamo was in Die Hard 2, and there's a funny John Leguizamo story where he's like, invites his whole family to go see Die Hard 2. Like, come on, I'm in Die Hard 2. Like, this is gonna be a big deal. I'm in a big movie, like my first real like big movie. I'm in Die Hard 2. I'm one of the bad guys in Die Hard 2. Come on, seem to be a bad guy in Die Hard 2. And watch the movie, and the guys when they're all like in like their white gear at the end, fighting John McClane. Um, he's like mostly got a mask on, so he can like point himself out in a few scenes where it's like I'm that guy on the right side of the van, pointing that out to my mom in the theater. I'm in the movie, mom. But there is two other scenes within the church where they're getting stuff together, where he kind of looks over. It's for like maybe a second, maybe 1 to 3 seconds. You can see John Leguizamo down, like filling him with some gear towards the end, and in an earlier scene as well, when they're setting stuff up in the church, you just barely notice him, only because years and years and years ago I became obsessed with. Oh my god, like, but he is in there. I'm gonna see if I can pick him out. So his face is in there. Maybe they cut him back in later on, be more evident once he became more famous or something. That seems like a crazy thing to do. That's definitely a crazy thing to do. Nobody went back and re-edited Die Hard 2. George Lucas wasn't like, hey guys, excuse me a minute. Before we go putting Die Hard 2 on all of the streaming services, let's edit some more John Leguizamo back in there, because that's what people really like about movies. All movies in general. So if you want this Die Hard 2 to be a real ace in the hole on the streaming networks, let's cut back in some John Leguizamo, like we're adding Dumax to episode 4. He's right. He's right. Nobody would do that. That's insane. Um, but yeah, he's like I said, it's barely noticeable. It goes by so quick, unless you're, I don't know, unless you know John Leguizamo or you're looking for it. I can't see how anybody would really even notice it. It's insane. But Die Hard 2 still amazing. Definitely crazier and a bit sillier than the first one, just with the amount of weird, dumb things that happen that are just like, would authorities be that crazy? And every other year, I go, no, they would not. People would be more responsible in these situations. And this year, both Die Hard movies and Gremlins 1 seem like, yep, this is what would happen. People are crazy. Hey, I found a strange monster that talks and clearly has had other adventures and has a vocal range of words, understanding. It seems to be able to read and understand electronics. It likes to watch TV. Who knows how old it is? It probably has like a Yoda type of backstory where, I mean, they are making a new Gremlins movie slash series that is about the guy from the Emporium that has Gizmo at the beginning, and him and Gizmo's adventures, which will not really make any sense because his name was not Gizmo back then. So what's his name going to be? Who knows? Maybe he'll just call him Mogwai, like the child or whatever. Um, but regardless, Gizmo is clearly evil. I haven't switched over to the drawing camera at all. What am I thinking? Um, but yeah, just like in this comic strip here, where Milo fully calls out Gizmo and is just like, "You're just bait and a trap, just the cutest angler fish that's also a source of pure evil. You're a Jumanji box with big eyes." And Milo's all like, Gizmo's all, "Bright light? Why do you even talk like a baby? I know you know all the words. Stripe can read and knows how to work electronics at birth." And Milo's all like, "You love it, don't you? You're not good. You're just pure, adorable evil." And then Gizmo's all like, "1 second, hold my beer while I drink some water, because if he's a mammal, how does he? How? Um, and then, yeah, of course, I know it. You just want to watch the world burn. I'm telling a high school science teacher. Because clearly, I mean, the allegory has to be that Gizmo is a Pandora's box. It's this adorable thing filled with, questions for the people that find it, but you know, it has the big eyes, so like the baby syndrome where you're like, I'm not gonna throw away a baby. It's adorable. It sings these little songs. It is it's totally like he's not good. He knows what he's capable of, and that's uh, uh the fact that this has clearly happened before. This isn't the first infestation. The other guy knows the rules, so Gizmo has been through this on more than one occasion, has always been the lone survivor. He knows what to do to make sure that there can be only one. You know, he's jet leeing his way through the world where it's just like, as long as I stay not gremlinized and I'm just this cute furry thing, I get to survive and I get to be the source of destruction. But mostly the fact that all of these things learn to talk right away, like 2 seconds out of popping out of Gizmo's back. Therefore, Gizmo is definitely smarter than he lets on. So it's just a trap. It's just a trap. I actually that was the other movie I watched. I didn't fully rewatch Sonic, but it has a lot of great Quicksilver moments. The best thing about Sonic is it's like the if Quicksilver from X Men had his own movie and he was this cute little thing and voiced by Ben Schwartz. That would be awesome. So I skipped the beginning and then just went right to the fun of, hey, it's Sonic and what's his face having a road trip. Um, but yeah, I almost tempted to be like, I'm not gonna watch it a second time, but then I threw it on. I'm just like, man, it's fun. It is definitely a fun movie, and I can't not recommend it. Second one, I already have very low hopes for it, and don't really care. But oh, and Jim Carrey's an amazing Doctor Robotnik slash Doctor Eggman. Um, Gets very Jim Carrey in it, and it fits real well. Hughes B. Lots of, yeah, there's lots of really good, funny stuff in it. You know, other than the only real major plot hole is Sonic is super fast and he can basically traverse the country in zero time whatsoever, or at least miles and miles and miles, and he can clearly run up and down the side of a building. And the main problem is there's a thing on top of a building, and then he's like, "We got to get into that building." Like, you could have just ran here and been like, there wouldn't be a movie, of course. So you do have to ignore that thing, but that's the only point where I'm just like, just just run, just you got to go fast. Remember, you got to go. That's your thing that you do. But he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Heartwarming ending. It's got all the things. Is there anything original in it? No, there really isn't. It's 90% every other movie you've seen where somebody is faster than the speed of light, slash superhero type things, but with Sonic. So it works out. So it works out. Oh my god. I see you're over there drawing me out in the snow, and I believe I should have a scarf on. I mean, come on now. With an amateur hour in Snowland? You're right. I mean, I'm sorry. Super sorry. There we go. A little scarf. That was close. That was a close one. And we're here. In the meadow, Milo builds a snowman. Maybe pretends it's a person. That's kind of weird. Dog. But oh my god, after watching Gremlins 1, still can't get enough of it. Absolutely the best. Um, throw on Gremlins 2 almost right away. And in my head, it's been a long time getting from there to here. And in my head, I really remember like Gremlins 2 it's a wackier version. It's a slightly more family friendly, fun time version of the first one. Not quite as much of a horror movie, and more about puppets doing stuff, which as a kid I loved and was just like, that was the greatest movie ever. I can't wait to watch this again. That was amazing. So much puppet fun, action, and wackiness and experiments and gremlins that turn into things. This is great. This is great. And there's a few things that, are burned into my mind as like, that's crazy, but it's in there, whatever. It's crazy fun. So like when the one gremlin turns into a lady gremlin, it's just like, yep, that's weird, but that's probably like kind of the weirdest thing in that movie, really. Other than the way I remember it is at a certain point, the gremlins take over a theater once again. They once again want to watch Snow White, which, if these things have just been born that day, why did they know movies that already exist? Gizmo, what do you know? He knows stuff. He knows stuff, and I don't trust him. Uh, so I distinctly remember in my head that Leonard Maltin is in the theater, and he's the one that's like, "Hey, you gremlins, we're here trying to watch a movie. You stop that." And then something happens, and I can't quite remember. What I completely forgot was that a usher comes down the aisle, taps Hulk Hogan on the shoulder, and is like, "Can you help us with this?" And Hulk Hogan like yells at the camera or yells at whatever, like, "Hey, you gremlins, these people are here to watch a nice family movie." And then he tears his shirt open, and we see that weird Hulk Hogan body. That again, don't tear your shirt off, man. Um, so there's that part, and then the Leonard Maltin part is separate, where he's reviewing the first Gremlins movie, and then the Gremlins come in and they kill him. Like, well, they just drag him back, but we presume that the Gremlins have murdered American treasure Leonard Maltin, and so much of it. Like so much of it, like every second of that movie is something you can't possibly remember. Like at a certain point, I was just thinking I should just start making notes. I should just start making notes because it's nonstop. Like right away, first thing starts with, because at the end of Gremlins, dude shows up and is like, "You are not responsible enough, Billy. I'm taking Gizmo back." Like, okay, so Gizmo's back at the shop, and this building is like trying to buy out this guy and demolish his store so they can build a big building or whatever. And then the guy like just dies, I guess, within like a few scenes. They demolish the building, and Gizmo just starts running, and lots of just real poor green screen of Milo of Gizmo running down the street. And then the scientist guys just pick him up, like, "Hey, I told you if you want to find something crazy, just check out these New York alleyways." He just picks up Gizmo like it was no big deal, puts him in a bag or whatever, takes him up to the lab into the building where Billy works. Why does Billy work at a building? Because if you're like a cartoonist, if you're an amateur cartoonist who just makes dumb stuff, I'm a professional animator, an artist, but this stuff, let's just pretend it's amateur cartoon hour. And even at my professional level of making things, no giant automated building company, biggest company in the world, is gonna be like, "Hey, come work in our like art department and draw buildings for us." Why? Billy has no background. He worked at the bank, and and I can't remember the girl's name now, but she's an idiot. She is beyond an idiot. Like, so like they are amazingly small town in this big city, and it's just like, oh, everything's crazy. And I think like one of her first lines is something like, well, golly gosh, like I guess so, Billy. Like, did she just say golly gosh? Or like, what? What? Who are these people? These are the worst people in the world, and of course they're the ones that are going to start a gremlin epidemic. I mean, of course they are. They're just too stupid to live. I mean, oh, for sure. That's the only way. Everybody in that building was white. So there's that. I do remember um, that Grandpa Munster is still playing, basically Grandpa Munster, and he's hosting a TV show because within the building they have a TV studio where they shoot all of their shows. They have a science lab. They have just a level for everything in this building. And eventually, well, Grandpa Munster wants to be a news anchor. He's hoping to host the news. At a certain point, Billy's girlfriend, mm, Phoebe Cates, can't remember the character's name, but anyway, Phoebe Cates gives tours through this building because you know what everyone wants is a tour of an office building. Everybody wants that. I mean, I guess 30 Rock and like the NBC buildings, people are getting tours of those all the time, so it's not too far fetched. Uh, and so there's of course because it's a 80s slash 90s movie. Um, there's a pile of like Japanese tourists with all their cameras, and I'm not sure if it's BD Wong. I don't think it's BD Wong. But it's that guy. He was in everything back. He was always the guy with the camera. Same guy from UHF, who has to play the racist stereotype of himself in movies. He ends up being the cameraman for Grandpa Munster. Like, yeah, that's okay. And then in the end, they're like, you're the best news guy. We're gonna put you on the news. Like, we just need to get you a crew. Like, I got this guy. That guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a guy with a camera. Anyway, they get jobs. Everybody just gets handed jobs left, right, and center. It's ridiculous. And anyway, of course, Gizmo ruins everything by getting wet because he's clearly not making any effort to abide by his own rules, even though he definitely is aware of them. I can't remember if the gremlins already started to break out or whatever it is, but eventually Billy and Phoebe Cates are heading somewhere and they leave the building. And for no reason whatsoever that I can relate to or find or see in the movie, there's like the police pull up with like a paddy wagon and they open the back of the thing. I guess to bring these prisoners into the jailers. I don't know because where are they right now? So the same alleyway that Billy and Phoebe Cates are coming out of, the police are herding in a pile of mimes, like literally a truckload of mimes. They're just getting out of this thing and they're all doing mimey things and loading them in. Like, okay, are, is this movie just about jamming as much crazy stuff in it as possible? And yes, yes is the only answer. Um, there was the mimes, and then like the doctor. How do I keep hitting that button? The doctor from Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. He's like one of the head of security or something. So, spoiler alert, they managed to take care of all of the gremlins. So, well, we won't. Let's not even go there right away. So before they take care of all the gremlins are loose in the science wing or whatever of this building. And there's just all kinds of potions and stuff that are just magic. They're just straight up magic. One is just like drink this, and it's like electricity liquid. I don't know. It turns one of the gremlins into pure electricity. I remember collecting, you would get little cards, or but like just little cards out of bags of Hostess chips when the movie came out, and desperately trying to collect all the different ones. So that one turns into pure electricity. He's flying around, he can go through the wires. Like, okay, fine. Loved it. He's like basically just hand animated. Loved that when I was a kid. Another one drinks this spider stuff. It turns into a spider, big legs, makes a big spider web. Awesome. Love the spider gremlin. And then another one drinks the bat stuff and turns into a bat gremlin, which was my favorite on so many levels. Because one, it just sprouts these big gargoyle wings. It's all stop motion. It's great. It's great. It's not great. It's it's okay. It's terrible. It's insane. But it's great. Like again, this movie is not to be watched because it's great. It's only to be watched because it's insane and to give your head a shake for a whole movie. So turns into a bat and then flies. Again, spoiler alert, flies through the wall out into the city, into the sunlight, and it's fine. Oh, and at least one, if not two, of the gremlins, there's like sunlight potion, let's just call it, and then it can survive in sunlight. So they give the bat guy the sunlight stuff. He flies through the window or through the door and makes the shape, a perfect shape of the bat symbol in the wall. And the way I remember it, I don't remember it when I watched it this time, but when I first saw it, I am positive that when the bat symbol showed up, there was a little TM that showed up in the corner, but I think that might have been from Animaniacs. But that one turns into a bat. It flies out, and the Winklevosses, let's call them. I can't remember the names, but like the old guy from the first movie that's just like, I'm racist, and the Japanese, they're putting gremlins and all kinds of stuff. That guy is coming to visit New York / Billy and Phoebe Cates. Why? I don't know. The local drunk from our hometown is visiting. Come on over. We'd love that. So he's in the streets, and for some reason, it basically establishes that both something crazy happened in that town, which was possibly monsters, and they got over it. But that old guy is clearly like, I'm crazy, and I didn't really see that because I was a drunk or whatever. I don't know. Nobody told him it was real. Um, because he's down on the street. People are taking pictures. This gremlin flies specifically to him. He's punching away at some stop motion that isn't there, throws it into some concrete, wet concrete. It gets covered in the wet concrete, and then the gremlin flies covered in concrete up to a building, takes on a gargoyle pose, and the cement dries into a gremlin gargoyle. So that one's taken care of. And the whole time, that old guy's like, I wasn't crazy. I'm not crazy. They are real. Like, yeah, they're real. They drove through your house and tried to murder you and your both of you saw it. Everybody in town that survived saw it. Like, oh my God, this poor old man is being gaslit by a bunch of people, probably mostly Billy. Not know how to draw legs today. Um, and I mean, obviously, how do I keep pressing this button? Oh, snaps. Um, so what else did they turn into? Oh, one just turns into vegetables. He takes like a vegetable needle full of vegetables, something or other, and literally just grows tomatoes and like lettuce and cabbage out of its body, and then it hides in a salad bar and then attacks people. I guess that was useless. And then one injects himself with crazy smart stuff, instantly wears glasses, starts speaking all you know, hyper intelligently, as only 80s movies can do. So, still, for the most part, all of them were my favorite. I still, even watching it again, other than it's just like, this is beyond insane. This is beyond insane. Every human in this movie is a monster and does deserve to die. And I don't even like no. Only a few characters do get brutally murdered, and they usually seem to be relatively background characters that don't necessarily deserve anything, and these main characters just manage to keep fully avoiding trouble. So in the end, they manage to take care of. They kill off all the gremlins. Every gremlin dies because they get them all in one place, and there's never any stragglers. Just like in the first movie, only Gizmo is left miraculously, even though that wouldn't happen. The way, just the way they operate, they'd still be in you just wouldn't. But regardless, as far as we know, Billy murders all of these creatures that he's once again responsible for creating. And the movie basically ends. I'm not sure if credits start to roll and it's post credits, or it's just like, well, we did it. Everyone's getting promotions who is still alive. Maybe automation isn't the way to go. It is about people and listening to people and blah, 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 blah. And then we cut to a shot where the doctor from Voyager is trapped on like the top floor and nobody's been able to get to him. And the lady gremlin, who has been fully in love with this guy, has just been following around, just trying to kiss him. That's it. It doesn't seem to want to murder anybody. Maybe it does. It's still a full blown monster gremlin. Um, but all of the gremlins are dead, except this lady gremlin and this guy are still trapped on the top floor. And he's like, oh, geez. Oh, no. Somebody come get me. Yep, we're going to come get you soon. Like, okay. And he like hangs up the phone like, I guess I just wait here with this monster, and who is again talking. And then like it cuts to the gremlin lady, and she's all like smooch 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 face. And then it cuts back over to the doctor guy, who was like, well, a woman's a woman, right? What's the big deal? And seemingly they just end up together. So he ends up, I guess, with his own gremlin as well, that he's also, you know, at least I don't think that Billy is going to have sex with Gizmo ever. But this guy definitely is going to, and probably has a whole Harry and the Hendersons series that could be made, where the doctor from Voyager is married to a little gremlin lady who probably also murders people when it's not busy being in love with him. I don't know. What I do know is that in the first Gremlins movie, Corey Feldman comes over to deliver a Christmas tree, I guess. He's just a little kid. He's a little kid. Billy's a man who works at a bank and draws comics and stuff. And when Corey Feldman delivers the tree, Billy's like, hey, like, come on upstairs and hang out with me. Let's get you out of that Christmas tree costume. You can leave it here. And then just hang out in my bedroom with me while I take my shirt off. I'm just going to take my shirt off while you take your Christmas tree off. I'm Billy. I'm fully nothing weird here. And I know that Billy has a brand new gremlin monster that's never been seen before by anybody, that you'd either want to show everybody and explain to everybody, well, look at this, what is this? Or hide from everybody like a Harry and the Hendersons or Alf situation. But instead, he's just like, come on upstairs. Hey, Take my shirt off, put another shirt on. Oh, hey, I'm Corey Feldman. What's this over here? Oh, that's Gizmo. Anyway, I was thinking about some. What do you mean? Oh, you've only had this thing for like a day. It is literally the newest species in the world that can talk and play video. It's playing a little Pac-Man game or something. And I mean, uh, the other problem. It's not a problem. The other hilarious little dumbness in Gremlins One is well, the great thing, the mom, Billy's mom is the only person in both of these movies who is capable of anything. She is dealing with an idiot husband who is actively ruining her life with his horrible inventions, and she's making do. She's making it through the day. She is strong and capable, and uh, before the gremlins turn into full blown monster gremlins, they can still do stuff. And one of the things they do is take the dog and they hang him with Christmas lights from the patio. And he's just like hanging there to die. And they go out and they're like, "Whoa, this is crazy. It must have been that old lady who hates the dog." Like, well, let's not go pointing fingers. We don't want to start any trouble. Let's just not talk about this ever and forget about it. Let's just forget that somebody got our dog and hung it from our porch so that we could find its dead corpse in the morning? That's let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this juice maker that your dad made instead or something. Like just don't even say anything about it. Like no, that's the most important thing that we have to talk about. So that's that's the dumbest thing that she did. But when they turn into gremlins, she's the only one that is actually actively fighting off, protecting her home and her family from gremlins by whatever means possible. And I mean, she is terrified and taking action. Right before that, during the attack, she's like icing some cookies. And they never really show you the icing cookies. But they're the most disgusting icing cookies I've ever seen. It looks like she might as well be just smearing mustard on a playing card because she's just oozing on this yellow frosting that's just like, what are you doing? And it's just like covering in it. Like that's not gonna look like a fun gingerbread person. That just looks disgusting. Gremlin's mom just looks disgusting. But other than that, she takes most of them out. Billy just takes her next door. Here you go. Deal with her. I'm gonna go try and get to the police or whatever. The police are just too drunk. Like I never remember the point where there's only two cops in town and both of them are too drunk to even comprehend. And then when they do see a little talking monster, they're like, "Well, that's wacky and crazy. We're drunk. I guess we should go look around since so many people are reporting murders." Like, what? Oh my god. But again, this year has taught us, yep, that's what would happen. That's exactly what is happening. Like I said, I should have taken some notes. Christopher Lee is like the head of the scientists. Like his opening shot is him coming in with like a giant pea pod and just being like, "Hey, we're doing a great job. What's going on over here?" Like, Christopher Lee, what are you doing here? What how did they get you? What is happening? Christopher Lee does not belong in this movie. But he gets killed. He gets killed up real good because he's just like being indignant, like, "How dare you? I am a fancy British actor. You can't do this." But I also am used to Christopher Lee being, hey, he's a wizard, or he's a Star War. I'm not used to him being known for horror stuff. Because one of the other things I threw on for a second, again, just scrolling through the Amazon TV stuff, and it's like, hey, remember when you used to watch Evening at the Improv? I sure do. I sure do. All of those people are like famous movie stars and comedians now. Maybe I'll take a look at this and see what this is all about. And it's like, hey, season 1 of Evening at the Improv, like, that's 1,000 years old. This is insane. I don't know if I can watch this. But it had a list where it was like all these famous people that you know, these comedians. And it listed like Adam Sandler and I don't know, everybody who is famous, and Christopher Lee, and Bob Saget. And wait, what? Christopher Lee again? What do you? Did Christopher Lee used to do comedy? I mean, it kind of explains why he was in Gremlins too, but oh my god, okay, I've got to watch this and see if Christopher Lee has some hilarious comedy stories. So I clicked on and went through all the episodes until I could find the one that had Christopher Lee in it. But I guess what they used to do was have some crazy super celebrity movie star host Evening at the Improv. So when it opened, or when the episode started, it shows like Bud Freeman, the guy who ran the Evening at the Improv. He's bringing Christopher Lee into the comedy bar theater. Can't think of the proper word for it. But anyway, bringing them into the venue, and Christopher Lee is like, all right now, bud, like, make sure everyone's aware, like, you're gonna pull some sort of horror gag, right? I know I'm the horror guy, but I'm just here to host or whatever. Like, oh, no problem, Mr. Lee, like, no problem. We're gonna be real professional about this. And as he starts to walk in, some girl turns and looks at him and just starts screaming like it's a horror movie and runs away. And he's like, like I told you not to do that. And I'm just like, this is the worst thing ever. Click, and I don't know, watch something else. But also, young Christopher Lee, much like young Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, is still very old, and it's very weird. But yet, a very young version of that old man, which is still, I don't know, it's like a young Freddy Krueger. Like, he's still Freddy Krueger, but thinner? I don't know. Weird. It was a while. I did make some notes. Oh, yeah. And then because it was like a super family friendly thing as well, um, Gremlins 2, that is, it opens. And it was another reason I remember loving it, because there's this whole thing between Daffy and Donald Duck. Not Donald Duck, Daffy and Bugs Bunny. Animated. Then at the end, as the credits go by, Daffy Duck just keeps popping in, just being like, "These are still going. Hey, what's going on?" Brr. Like, this is again insane, insane. And in Gremlins 1, a bunch of people did the noises. Howie Mandel was one of the voices, along with like Frank Welker or whatever, of the Gremlins. And then in Gremlins 2, it's just Howie Mandel is the voice of Gizmo and the Gremlins, which there was a time that would have made me the most excited. Like when I was younger, like, Howie Mandel, he's amazing. He's amazing. And now I'm just like, hey, he was in a lot of stuff. Dave Coulier, I believe, was also making gremlin noises. in the movie. Just doing voices, yeah. Most of the cartoons where people did like Frank Welkery type voices, he was getting involved back in the day. Meanwhile, in the real world, I'm over here trying to sequester myself, trying to keep myself quarantined ish before I go home to visit my mom. Like the less I do, the less people I see, the more comfortable I'll be with going to visit my mom. And I don't believe I'm pretty sure this was after we did a stream. So I'm using the bathroom. Excuse me, like a normal person does. Everybody uses the bathroom. Yeah, just sitting on the toilet, having a wicked poop, trying to have a nice, relaxing, just pooping the day away, thinking, hey ho, it's my poop song. You all know it can't go wrong, cause I'm sitting here going, dig dog, and my poop's ring off the porcelain. That's no. Just go into the bathroom like a normal person, and I hear like a knock at the door. I hear knocks on multiple doors, and I hear a woman basically just like asking for help, and I'm just like, but I'm pooping, but I'm pooping, Pat. How can I help people while I'm pooping? I guess maybe it's probably nothing, and I can hear what sounds like a woman saying something like, I need help. My husband has had, is having, is going to have a heart attack. And I'm like, okay, cool. Poop has stopped. Spider-Man mask on, and away we go. So get up, take care of bathroomness, grab my mask and my phone, and I'm like, all right, I don't know why they aren't screaming. The ambulance is on its way. I've called 911, so I'm like prepared. Like I'm gonna go into the hallway, and if she says what I think she says, and they haven't called for help, I'll just call 911. That's my plan. But mask on, gloves on, go into the hallway. Like, what's going on? And she's in the process of yelling it up the stairs at some other lady that lives in the building. Um, I need I need some help. Like, is your husband at home? And the other lady's like, my husband isn't at home. She's like, my husband is downstairs or whatever. Like, uh, we uh we we're trying to move a couch up the stairs, but he can't move it, or if he does move it, he will have a heart attack. Like, oh, you got me, and I'm just like, at this point, she's telling it to like both of us. Lady like walks away, like, well, there's some man. I'm just like, no, just barely. I don't want to move a couch, and I don't want to be around you guys because it is the people that, most people have been replaced in this building, and these two are still the jerks at the end of the hallway that I hate. Um. So, yeah, stop pooping for everything. So, she explains like, we need help. Like, his blood pressure is too high. If he does try to lift this couch, he will die today. Like, all right, cool. I will not let either of you die today. Where's the couch? So he comes in just like, yep, I had to leave work. My doctor said, like, technically I shouldn't do anything at all. Like, it will kill me. Like, cool. Let's take our time then and see if we can get this couch. Yeah, so the only couch I could fit in this apartment was a little one. Like, okay. And the only one I could find slash get was a pull-out couch. Like, of course it is. Of course it is. At least you're not saying a futon, but I don't know. Sometimes a futon is easier. The pull-out couches are the worst. They're the worst thing in the world to try and move. Oh my god, oh my god. So he's like, yeah, so it's downstairs, but like, they brought it here. I got them to deliver it here, but they would not bring it up the stairs. I'm like, yep, nobody will bring anything up the stairs in this building unless you pay them an extra $40. That's just the way it is. And even if you hired movers that you're just like, and it's this building, they're like, yeah, we've been here before. We're not doing anything until you go get the extra $40 for the crazy stair fee. I was like, they're not that crazy. And it was in the back of the building, so like these are actually the easy stairs. So he's explaining to me his ailments and whatever, like, yeah. You have a severe drinking problem and you are not healthy at all. I'm not crazy healthy and I have done very little exercise in a long time. I don't want to move a couch, but yeah, like let's do this, no big deal. Like let's keep you from dying. So go downstairs and I'm like, all right, like I'll do my best to take as much weight as I can and you just try and guide it up and we'll do our best to try and like just get it to landing areas and I'll just walk it as best as I can. At least it was tied closed, so it wasn't coming apart and it was staying nice and mostly solid, but it was still like a bed inside of a couch from the 70s, so it was £1,000,000. So I'm at one end, he's at the other end, and his wife, who is like 4 feet tall, just a tiny woman, she's like, don't worry, like I'm here too. Like at my job, like I move stuff all the time, I'm always moving stuff, so I'll be a really good help. Like, oh, thank God. Like, thank God, because I really don't want to put any weight on this guy. He's already turning super red and going to explode. But what these two do is they scream at each other all the time. That's their life, is screaming at each other through the walls, and that's why I hate them. And I'm like, oh, you guys, I thought for sure they just met on like a Plenty of Fish or a Tinder type thing a while ago, and they just keep coming back to each other because it's like, hey, we're both monsters and we're both disgusting, so why take our chances? Why try with anybody else? Let's keep settling back into this. But turns out they've been married for 33 years. Like, oh, wow. So that kid is both your kid. Wow. Oh, wow. This is unbelievable. Um, so I'm doing my best to pull this thing out, and I'm just like, take your time. So literally, we'll move it up like 2 or 3 steps. And he's like, all right. He's like, I just need a break. I need to stop. Like, yep, that's fine. Take as much time as you need. This is going to be difficult, and like I said, I'm trying my best, and just I'm not going to rush you. She comes out to help, and she's just starting to like, come on, let's get this done. Let's get this done. The faster the better. Like, let's just get this done. Like, let's just take her time. Let's just take her time. Like, the reason you brought me out here is so he doesn't have a heart attack. The other reason he's going to have a heart attack is because some lady is screaming at him while he's underneath a couch. But that's fine. Like, whatever. I still got my phone on me. It's being crushed by a convertible couch right now, but that's fine. I'm sure my phone will survive enough that I can call 911 when this guy collapses on the stairs in the next 5 minutes. So we move a bit. Then he's like, okay, I gotta stop again. I need another break. He's like, my foot is like jammed. My foot is whatever. She's screaming like, it's always your foot. Every time, it's always with your feet. There's always something. You always gotta stop. You always this. You're always with your feet. She like walks away, disappears for a few minutes. We move it up some more while she's gone. She comes back again, disappears again. Each time just coming back to yell something about how he's just not good enough as a human. And praising me for being some sort of mysterious strong guy. Who is this guy? Where did this guy come from? Who is this guy? I was at your door just a few days ago asking if somebody has spread anthrax around in the hallway. And, turns out it was him. I think we talked about this in the last stream, spreading around bug repellent dust or whatever. It's like, I just talked to you guys. It's always me. My mask isn't fully covering up my own face, and I just came in from the other end of the hallway. Like, I live right next door to you guys. So the best part about them being neighbors is the fact that they don't remember me ever, and that does give me some peace. So we finally get to the top, and we're just kind of like walking it on its end in the doorway, and they're like, "Oh, that's it. We can take it from here." Like, thank effing God. I did not want to step foot beyond the threshold of their door. Even being that close is just like, is this? You guys having you guys running a dumpster fire in there? Like it smells like burnt garbage and wet dogs. Like it smells like all of the filth of all of the things possible. I do not want to go in there at all. Um, um, so no, I didn't poop myself. They did try to offer me some awards or rewards. Like, hey, do you drink beer? Hmm? No, I don't. I don't drink beer. I don't drink beer. Tastes like yeast. Tastes like yeast. I don't let. No, beer's gross. Well, we're gonna do something nice for you. Nope, it's all good. Just want to make sure nobody has a heart attack and you guys have something to sit on. That's fine. Nope, I'm gonna make you something. I'm gonna make you some food and I'm gonna bring it to you. Please don't. Please don't. Like that's great. Thanks. I'm gonna go now. Gotta go back to work and do the things. Away I go. And then I just went and just hoped and hoped and hoped. Oh, please just continue drinking away the day and forget that you want to bring me food because I'm not going to eat it. I'm just going to throw it in the garbage, wait several hours or days, and bring back the container. Hopefully, you don't bring a container that I need to bring back because I just don't even want to touch your dishes. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything. The only reason I'm touching this couch is because you guys haven't really touched it yet, and I'm done. And I'm done. So it's been 2 weeks, and they seem to have forgotten about me. And oh, that's the greatest Christmas miracle is not having to accept weird stuff from gross people. But that's just how my adventures go. You just think, hey, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna I'm gonna go down the hall in my own home. I'm gonna defecate like a normal human being, and nothing crazy is gonna happen. Why would something crazy happen? But just like critters, and probably also the munchies, that's when the monsters get you in the toilet. These people are the last monsters left in this building, besides me, of course. But I'm a different kind of monster. Different kind of monster. Definitely was some other wacky adventures. Oh, stopped and visited my aunt on the way home. Ghoulies, that's the other one I was thinking of. Um, the amusement park. Classic. Loved that movie as a kid. Again, for the same reason I loved Gremlins. Just love watching puppets. Just love watching puppets do stuff. Um, so yeah, while I was home, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stop and visit my aunt before I head back because I don't want to be driving in the dark. But nighttime starts at like 4:30 still, so I won't be there long. So I go, and borderline the most relaxing part about Christmas, just because my aunt has like this like glassed in screen porch, like sun porch on the front step, and a big sign on it that says like, if you don't have a mask on, get out of here. And then she's got a big basket of masks. She's been making masks and they're amazing, and she gave me one and I'm like, these are amazing, what have you been doing? She's like, I've been kind of loving this. Like, they're retired now anyway, so she's like got the sewing machine out, and she's on to making aprons now, and she was making masks, learning all these different foods to make. And like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like, I'm over here making weird little stop motion guys with blinkable eyes. Eh? Action packed. Kung fu blinking action. So, oh god, yeah. Ghoulies made me absolutely terrified of the toilet. Uh, So just talking to her for a bit about like just spending the time, and her husband, Uncle Santa Bob, he's got like this workshop. He's been making these amazing, amazing birdhouses that are like just crazy detailed. And pretty much he's like, I'm not doing commissions because people like ask for stuff, and I don't care what people want. I'm like, that's how I feel. Same team. Like I just like making stuff, and if they want to buy it, they can buy it, and if they don't, they don't. I don't care. I've got a job, and I do that job, and I don't need to prove myself at the end of the day. So people can buy whatever I make, and I'll make books and whatever. So they're amazing. So we're just talking about all that stuff. We're outside. We're keeping distance. We've all got masks on. I'm just like, this is awesome. I feel good. I feel relaxed having this conversation. Like, there's no way I could have been like, hey, mom, I'm just going to wear a mask for 3 days in the house. Is that cool? Obviously, it won't be. And make everybody real uncomfortable. But this was pretty nice. So didn't expect to stay there for too long. Um, but then Bob came home, so talking to Bob about stuff as well. And I'm like, all right, I'm still here. And then my cousin, who lives like across the street, which is their daughter, she sees my car. She stops to give me the yearly pictures of her twins to put on my Christmas tree, because my tree is my own random decorations, and then pictures of sets of twins. My friend's twins and her twins as they age through the years. Um, he tells me that the other day or the night before, whatever it was, they went or she went to pick up a pizza just down the street from their home, all well within everyone's bubble, wearing masks, following protocols, etc. Everybody knows each other, so they get in. As they're going in, some people are leaving, and it's just like the whoever was serving them was like, "Hey, those guys there that just left, like, yeah." So they showed up. They ordered some food. They sat down and ate food within the restaurant. Like, okay, and then they got up and paid. And as they're paying and leaving, they were like, "Yeah, we just drove here from across the country. We're going to the ferry to go like to Newfoundland, to the other extreme end of the country, and we fully just sat down and ate here after we came from Alberta, after we came from the places and drove through all the places with all of the most pandemic-filled pandemicness, and we of all people should know that one, you don't just go driving across country this time of year during pandemic. You just don't. You just don't. That's where all of the problems are coming from, is traveling through and across. Is you got to stay in your bubbles. You stay in your bubbles or else bubbles burst. And then there's just spittle everywhere, just bubble spittle everywhere. So they sat down, they ate, and then said, by the way, gotcha. We've just drove through everywhere. And now we're going to the ferry where we'll be around other people and then whatever. So it's just like, cool. Cool. How do people sleep at night? How do people, like, I literally barely slept, just again staying within my bubble to go visit my own mom, and it's just again 3 hours away, very close, not crossing any borders, not doing extremely less than other people are doing who are like, hey, we're going on shopping trips. Like, you're doing what now? No, no, that's not a thing that we're doing. But yeah, these parasites are just like, no, we deserve to have our adventures. It's Christmas time. Like, no. No. So that was upsetting. But still got the news. I've still got the internet. I've still have a radio in my car. So I already know that, yeah, people are doing dumb stuff all the time. In New Brunswick, they're showing like, hey, it's New Year's Eve in New Brunswick. Let's all literally spill out of the edges of this bar to maximum capacity times 10. And like, all right, cool. Yeah. I realize I'm already a hermit, so it's not too crazy for me to just be like, no, no, just stay home and stop doing stuff. But wow. Wow. Like, even crazier is not only was there that big party atmosphere, but also like people were probably going home with each other as well. Like, hey, I just met you here. Like, I'm drunk at the bar. You're drunk at the bar. It's pandemic. Who cares? Let's go home together and see what's going on. Like, no, no, no. Hey, what about Christmas presents? Why don't you talk about the Christmas presents instead? The one thing I did do was reorganize some of my sock drawers because I had more than one. Well, I had a sock drawer and then a bin full of socks. I'm just like, this is too many socks. I have 1,000 socks, and I just got more socks from my mom, and I still didn't open up the socks that I got from my mom last year. So I mean, I should definitely go through all these socks and get rid of most of them because I should have gotten rid of most of them last Christmas time and I didn't. And I don't need a whole drawer and a bin. Let's get this down to one drawer. So I went through that and compiled my socks down to just fun socks or fully functional socks. Amongst other things from my mom that will allow me to get some fresh art supplies and whatnot. Um, but what I got for my mom. uh, whether you're alone or not, the cats are going to eat us all. That's just a fact. Hey, hey, I resent that. I mean, obviously, listen, I'm not gonna murder anybody, but let's say I don't know, you got it in hand someday. I will smash you with this unacceptable bug, and if you do happen to die, then yeah, I'm gonna eat your corpse. I'm gonna eat your face. I'm gonna eat your eyeballs out. I'm gonna devour the whole thing. That's our deal. That's our deal. It's like K2 or whatever that movie was, where they're like we're trapped in the Andes after a plane crash happens. If you were with a cat, then plane crash rules apply, and you become the food. But you know, vice versa, vice versa. If I happen to die and the heat goes out and it's cold, you could use me for both food and/or firewood to cook my body on. That's that's terrible. But thanks. But thanks. Um, yeah, that's always been the deal with cats. Um, oh God, don't even. Don't even get me started on all the different ways I've thought about how a cat will murder me in my sleep. Definitely, my mom doesn't want me to talk about this for sure, but my mom is like me, or I get it from her in the dream department, i.e., the things that I see during the day follow me into my dreams, and I have dreams that I can just barely deal with, and I wake up from all the time, and it does keep me from watching certain movies and TV shows too late or too close to like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep soon. Can't watch this now because I don't want to deal with these people or monsters in my dreams. My mom's thing is cats. She has a really like she has a lot of just dreams about cats getting up in her face, being in the room, and in real life, she just doesn't want a cat anywhere near her while she's sleeping. Just like absolutely does not want that at all. And it's just like, yep, I get it. But to the point where she is fully like, oh, a cat thing is coming, something with cats, or me mentioning cats, like, don't even talk about it. Like, what? Like, are you averting your eyes from Milo? Like, yes, just in case. Like, oh, wow. Like, we are the same. We are the same person. This is nuts. Um, but that's not what I wanted to talk about anyway. It just snapped into my head when I remembered, oh, yeah, and then because of that, just every time I do go home, it reinstills my crazy dreamness. And I've been having just annoyingly realistic dreams the last few days, and waking up from all of them mid dream. Why don't I know how to draw anymore? But the best part of Christmas, I think, for me anyway, was it was suggested for several years in a row that we get a robot vacuum cleaner for my mom. I was like, she would love it. She would love it. I was like, yeah, but I have yet to see evidence that these robot vacuum cleaners are up to her standards, or up to my standards, or up to anybody's standards. They always, when I do see them, they're just meandering around, and then they start a new pattern if they run into anything at all. I'm just like, no, this is an unacceptable level of cleaning, and it doesn't have enough power. This year, however, I did some more research. It was like, hey, unlike the robot vacuum cleaners of the past, now they have the power. Now they make a layout of your home, and you can set it up to your phone, send it to certain rooms. It gets everywhere. It's almost an all-terrain vehicle. Like, it's amazing. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. When I was a kid, I got a Nintendo. I got a Sega Genesis. This will be the PS5 for my mom. I'm gonna get her something really good, and I got her a robot vacuum, and it was one of these ones that has like a tower, so that it when it does fill up, it goes and dumps itself. So like once a month, basically, you just have to take the tower and dump that and put it back in, and the robot takes care of itself. So still worried, like, is she gonna like this? I just don't know. Um, and kind of like texting around with some people about it. And Tim mentioned, like, oh, my mom loves hers. She calls it her little buddy. I'm like, huh. Hmm. Speaking of little buddies, I believe somewhere in this apartment I have a bag, or at least a mostly empty bag, of googly eyes. Somewhere there are googly eyes in this apartment. I don't remember how many are left, but I know there's at least two, if not 14. So I dig through all my bins that have like craft stuff, Lego things, parts for like stop motion things, and finally find the bag, but there's only one eye left. But it's just a loosely open bag, so I dig through the bin and I find a few more googly eyes. I open up the robot vacuum cleaner. I get some super glue. Should have used any other kind of glue, but I grabbed super glue, glued two googly eyes to the robot vacuum, put it back in the box, wrap it back up, and take it to my mom. They open it up. My brother like sets it up for her. My mom looks at it. My brother's girlfriend looks at it. They're like, "Oh, it's got eyes, like adorable." I do not tell anybody that I put the eyes on there. It's just adorable, like this out the box. Everyone believe, 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 and they basically did. Eventually, my brother's girlfriend was like, "You put those eyes on there, right?" Like, yeah, I did. Um, but I don't think my mom figured it out, or would think anything otherwise. Yeah, good enough. I don't care. Um, and that's the way I like it. So I'm explaining to her, I was like, yeah, if you connect it to your phone, you can just put it on a schedule and have it like clean whenever you want, or this and this and that. She's like, looked at me like, this is me. And I'm like, I know, you're not going to, and you don't have to. You can also just press the clean button and it will just go and clean. So uh, my brother and his girlfriend left, and it's just me and my mom. And she's like, well, let's try it out. Like, let's watch this thing clean. Like, okay, get it going. And I can honestly say kind of the funnest thing, like, it was adorable and so interesting to watch this thing clean, because it was like forming a specific like path, so that it would get everything. It looked adorable because it has these little eyes and it has these wheels on it that can kind of lift, so it can like almost climb over things. I'm like, this is amazing. I can't, like, this is way better than I ever imagined it would be. I'm so impressed with this tiny robot. And then we basically, I think a Friends marathon or something was on TV, maybe a Christmas movie at this point, and we just watched it. We watched it. My mom was like, "Well, it needs a name. It needs a name. It's like it's got to have a girl's name. I'm gonna call it Hazel. I'm gonna call it Hazel." And I'm like, "That's from like an old show or something, right? That I don't know." I was like, "What is that?" She's like, "The show was called Hazel. She was like a maid called Hazel." Like, okay, cool. Um, but then she kept calling it he, like, oh, he's over here, he's doing this. She's like, oh, I'm gonna have to change its name. because I keep calling it he. I was like, I call it Tony. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Angela. I'm cleaning over here. Like, the little Tony Maselli robot. And she's like, oh, maybe. So I don't know. As far as I know, when I left, it was still called Hazel, or possibly went back to being nameless. But I was impressed. So it like left the room. It was going down the hallway, and she's like, "What about the bathroom? Like, there's mats in the bathroom. Like, let's just see. Like, maybe it will just go over these mats and not disturb everything. Like, maybe it will clean them." And I went in and watched, and it fully like with its crazy wheels went over the mats with it wrecking stuff. It kind of moved a few things here and there, but my mom's house is pretty clean and neat. That there's nothing for to worry about unless it goes into my brother's room. And but I still was just like, there's no way. There's no way this thing will clean to her satisfaction. So it cleans for a while. Or well, it maybe was like 20 minutes, maybe a half hour total. So it's doing some cleaning. And then it comes back to dump out and then goes back to cleaning again. My mom was like wildly offended, just like Hazel, like I didn't my no, I didn't think the floors are not that dirty, and they never are. Like they never are. Like those floors are always swept and mopped, always more than anybody in the whole world. So I'm just like, this almost seems crazy, but this robot will have the easiest job because there isn't any cats, there's no dogs, there's no real reason to have anything. It's just real basic dust to pick up. But the fact that it came back, dumped, and then kept going, she was just like, I didn't think my floors were that dirty. And I was like, they're not. I think it's more of a time thing. And it's only got, it can only hold a little bit of dirt before it's got to put it in there because it's all motor and stuff, right? And sensors. So she was fine with that. Um, and it cleaned pretty good. Like I said, it was not only interesting, but it did a pretty good job as near as I could tell. And then the next day, she was like, "Well, let's run it again. Like we just robot vacuumed yesterday. And again, started it up, and whatever we were watching, whatever we were talking about, it didn't matter. We just talked about and watched the robot, the robot vacuum again for another like 20, 40 minutes. Everything it did was just adorable. And the second time around, it was avoiding things way better. Like it really knew where everything was now, and it was like, this is insane. Like we're watching it learn. This is the thing that's going to eat you in your sleep. This is your cat that's going to murder you. Oh my god. So she was loving it. My aunt, who lives 2 doors over, she called, and I guess she also got a robot for Christmas, and they were both just giddy and excited. So I was like, all right, this is great. Like, I'm very happy that I managed to get her something that she could use and enjoy. Because every other year, it's like, here's a crazy scarf that I don't know, spend a bunch of money on. Here's a watch. I don't know. You don't need or use any of these things. Like, here's just stuff, and it was great. Second time around, she was fully like pointing. She's like, "See, there's some dirt over there that it can get, and over there, there's two little flecks of dirt over there. Like, will it get them? Let's just see." And just waiting for it to get there. I'm like, "Oh my god! Like, this is why I am the way that I am. Like, this is the exact reason. Like, you are so focused on these two specks of dirt and this thing cleaning it. Like, this is why I function the way that I do." And it went through the second time, cleaned up, and then while it was doing that, she went out, or I whatever. We were eating junk food still, and then she came back. She's like, "Oh, like there's a piece over here. Like there's a little thing." She's like, "But it's not Hazel's fault." She's like, "That's me walking around eating after it already cleaned over here." She's like, "It'll probably get this when it comes back, but that's my fault. It's not the vacuum's fault. Like it's doing a great job. Like already apologizing for this little monster." Um, so that was great. Uh, and if I did really have any use for it, slash there wasn't wires everywhere, it did really make me want to get one. Like this is a fun, like this is what I want out of a cat. Excuse me? Literally right here. No, I mean like a real cat, like a real pet. Like ideally, if I had a real pet, it would be like a helper monkey that was like cleaning and doing stuff, and then also just went and recharged and left me alone for hours at a time, and I didn't have to worry about its health all the time. No, that's fine. I'll just be over here wasting away. It's great. If I had batteries, that I'd be acceptable. But I'm over here just being like an unacceptable bug. Ugh, that's right. That's just true. That's just true. Um, but yeah, it takes me like 2 minutes to sweep and vacuum this place, so it's really really no reason to get one other than the adorableness. Hey, bros. I'm just over here thinking, if somebody did want to replace a cat with a robot, maybe you'd also like to replace a cat with a painting of a cat. Hey, don't you dare. Don't you dare, Tedward. Every time with you. You're thin ice. You're on thin ice. No, man. If I was on thin ice, I'd be skating. I'd be skating for my life. 'Cause I enjoy sports, both summer and winter style. I don't enjoy you or your winter sports, and I honestly can't believe I keep forgetting to knock that painting off the wall. Don't knock things. Anyway, uh, robot vacuum, surprisingly highlight of Christmas for probably more me than my mom, but it was pretty fun watching a vacuum with my mom. Oh, good times. Good times. And of course, meanwhile, in the rest of the news, there's where is it? Oh, I'm still not going anywhere. I'll threaten whoever you just threaten. These boards are not coming down out of the cheeseburger. Yeah, that guy. He's still literally thinking like, oh, I should delete that and put another character in its place, and instead I just don't. Hey, that's not the voice. Oh my god. um, this is getting out of control. You gotta keep track of the voices before you click to them. I know. That's Ted's voice. How does it go? Gonna try it again. Let's dance. There you go. This is the voice that I have now, and everyone enjoys it. And you just have to get used to this voice, and then get rid of that other guy. Cut to me all the time. You can even give my friend Jay over here a nice voice to talk with, or just grunts. He could just grunt and make weird noises while we talk about things, right, Jay? See? What a good time. What a great time, even. Oh, I'm never going anywhere. I'm always going to settle down. They'll all make phone calls and they'll all be perfect. And you'll never stop me. And Joe Biden is too old, a little bit older than me, and I'll break his knees. Well, they always told me. I didn't say that. America, America, this is you. Do, 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 do. And that's all I have to say about that part of the news. Oh, we're not really going to talk about that maniac. I'm done. I'm done. Joe's problem now. All right? GI Joes, Biden Joes. Obama, whoever. The amount of things coming out of that place. Just bananas. Just bananas. Not that Canada isn't also being bananas, because it is. Making snowmen. Making snowmen. I never understood Canadian politics to begin with, and I don't know. It all just seems silly, and especially when it's just like, all right, we're gonna lock down now. Like, you haven't been locked down this whole time. What are you talking about? I tried to watch another episode of Animated Alf. Ugh, it really is an unwatchable, painful cartoon, but again, the animators that worked on that show, they put in the time. They put in the time. Too bad it was just wildly annoying. But I did go on a slight TV. Um, oh my god. Oops. All right. Back in. A little TV research adventure. There's this show. So, Taskmaster, if you haven't seen the New Year special, oh my god, way better. I watched it almost 3 times. I watched it twice, almost put it on a third time. That one episode makes up for the entire last season. It was so funny from beginning to end. Oh my god! And every time I try and watch the Catherine Parkinson season, it just there's still good stuff to it, but man, oh man, it's just depressing um, compared to every other season. But the new one, beginning to end, every second of it is gold. Now that aside, we're not talking about that. Next Taskmaster season that's coming up, Lee Mack is going to be on it. Lee Mack is a British comedian. He's one of the team leaders on a show called Would I Lie to You, where two teams, hey Dark Buns, Stream Labs, making your streams come true. So he's going to be on the new season of Taskmaster. So that should be really fun. And he's on all these other shows, and he's pretty fun. He has this sitcom that I watched what in my head was a long time ago. I thought there was like maybe 3 seasons of it, and that I'd watched pretty much all of them. And then I figured, oh, I'll flip around and see if I can find the Christmas special. There's usually a Christmas episode every year. For most British shows, whether the show is still on or not, they always come back and make uh, um, a Christmas special. And then when I went to go look, YouTube was like, hey, you probably want to subscribe to Lee Mack's YouTube channel. He's putting up episodes of this show called Not Going Out. And I'm like, oh, cool. I should check that out. What I know the show was in these at least 2, if not 3 seasons that seemed to go on for a while, it was a show about Lee Mack and his wife and their 3 kids, which I assumed was based on his real life, which he has like 3 kids and a wife, and he's a wacky guy. So I assume that's 100% what the show is. That's what the show has always been. since I watched it. It's called Not Going Out, and I assumed that meant, hey, we're home, we've got a family, we're exhausted, we're not going out tonight, we're staying in and dealing with family stuff, and that's it. And Rob Brydon, like everybody that you've ever seen on like Taskmaster or Would I Lie to You, pops up at some point in time. 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown or Countdown. Uh, um, uh, the Word Lady, Rachel Riley, and Susie Dent. Susie Dent was on it because like she or the neighbor was his crush, and Hugh Dennis, also from Taskmaster, he's the neighbor, and it's very standard like Flintstone style sitcom nonsense. Like it's just wacky schemes and lies blowing up in people's faces from beginning to end. And it's fun. It's good fun for everybody. So when YouTube was like, hey, check out Lee Mack's channel, he started uploading episodes of this show. Okay. The first episode is about Lee Mack and the lady who would be his wife, but Lee Mack is just renting a room and his roommates with this woman. And Tim Vine, also from a season of Taskmaster, is Lee's best friend and the sister of the lady he's renting this living in this apartment with. And this first episode that comes up is like a pregnancy scare. So I'm like, oh, so this is what happened. First episode, he gets her pregnant. They end up getting married, and then the rest of what I know the show to be, him and his kids, takes place. Watch the episode. She doesn't get pregnant. That's not what it's about. What's going on? What's Tim Vine doing here? They live in this apartment. They're not mentioning anything about anything. They're not cutting ahead to the family thing. And then another episode comes up. They're still in that apartment, hanging out with Tim, like doing the same stuff he's doing with the neighbor and the family on the new version, but it's just this whole other show. I'm just like, what am I even watching? This is a completely different show. Same name, really only Lee Mack is the same, and his wife is like the same character, but not. I don't even know. So I'm watching it. It's like it's still good, still entertained by it, but I can't quite figure out what's going on. Go through a few episodes so then I could see like newer episodes is where he's married, and these older episodes. But I'm like, how many episodes are there? And expecting like they're gonna ease their way up to the part where they're married, and then I'm just like not. So I'm randomly finding episodes, and I'm just finding none that transition from one to the other. It's just like they're not together as near as I can tell for all of it. Even more so, find another set of episodes which I realize, okay, this is season one. Season one is about Lee Mack. He's renting a room from this other woman, this American woman. And I believe he also wants to date her. Tim Vine is still his friend, but Tim Vine is used to date this American woman. So that's his ex, and they're have some animosity, but Lee is definitely going to end up with her. So I'm just like, what? Who are these people? So I'm like, well, now I have to physically do research. So I go through like an IMDb or a Wikipedia that breaks down every season, expecting it to be like, well, this is the part where the Ross and Racheling happens, and they fall in love, they have kids, they move out to the suburbs and get a house, something, something, something. Because I'm like, it's basically because it's Friends, and then it's another show, and it's like this is two different shows, with a bunch of characters. Miranda Hart is like their maid in the one where he's renting a room from his future wife, and Katie Wicks, also from Taskmaster, she is Tim Vine's girlfriend in these later episodes. So I'm like, I gotta look this up. So first season is about Lee Mack living with this American lady. At the end of that season, she leaves. And then Tim Vine's sister, who is not in the other episodes, even though there's a funeral episode with his family, she's not there. She doesn't exist. She comes in, she buys the apartment, and then rents that to Lee Mack. So now they're living together. Tim Vine is hanging out. Reading. So, like, one season is that. him and the American girl. Second to like fifth season is him in the apartment with the cleaning lady, Tim Vine hanging out. They never get together, as near as I can tell, for like many seasons. And I'm just like reading through, like, are you like what is happening? This is insane. This show has been on for like 8 seasons, and most of it has not been the show that I thought it was about. So, uh, there's a Christmas special. So that's what the show is about. Suddenly, Tim Vine is gone. Most of the characters are gone. There's a Christmas special where it's like in the future, and now Lee and his wife are now married, and they have the 3 kids, and they're in a house, and they have these neighbors now. That's it. They just skip ahead to it, and that's how we got there. It just was never there, and I'm like, what? And now it's just that other show. And then I watched the New Year's episode of that, which is weird because it is a COVID episode, so everybody's just sitting 6 feet apart from each other, playing games, um, and just having a discussion in this one room for the whole episode. It still ended up being funny. I was like, this is weird. Like, man, COVID is doing weird things to TV shows. Like, Would I Lie to You? Their panels are super far away. The Big Fat Quiz of the Year. The other show that I recommend, British show that they go on, they're normally teams of 2 and they're sitting next to each other. The panels are super long, so they're like sitting like 12 feet apart. But yeah, I ended up just going down that rabbit hole of reading about this show and realizing there's so many episodes of this show, not only that I've never seen, but I'm just like, I don't even know what it was about. This is crazy. I never did watch RuPaul's Drag Race or any of those shows. But that was one of my um I don't know, Christmas projects, if you will. Was I'm going to take 5 minutes and look up what's been going on with this TV show. Are there a million other shows I could have watched or tried out? Yep. Like, nope. I'm going to watch this. And then because of Miranda Hart being on that show, I'm just like, oh, Miranda Hart is like really funny. She's pretty entertaining. She's got a show that I never watched. Maybe I should give that a try. And then it popped up on Amazon, but just like the last 2 episodes ever. And I'm like, what was this show all about? So then try to find episodes of that. Some of them were on Amazon, and found some of them on YouTube, but they were filmed in that or shot in that annoying way where they just like put a little box and then have a big background on there, and that makes me crazy. Um, but that show was way funnier than I thought, and also has Sally. Can't remember her name, but she was on the James. Oh, was it the James Acaster season of Taskmaster? Uh, Sally Phillips. She's from Bridget Jones. She's the wacky. She was like my favorite part of Bridget Jones as well. But she's on this Miranda show and a bunch of other wacky characters. But she comes in and talks weird, and that show was surprisingly fun. She breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera a lot. A lot of really fun stuff. Top of Alex. She is just actually super wacky and fun. Um, and yeah, that whole show was great. So I've mostly been trying to go down some like weird British show rabbit holes, and then when I run out, YouTube or whatever is usually like, hey, if you like that stuff, you'll probably like watching Taskmaster again. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I will. Play that until I fall asleep, TV. Play that until I fall asleep. And that's TV news for 2020/2021. My favorite part is like the first task with Sally Phillips, where she was like, oh, she's like, Alex says, you know, hi Sally, and she's like, oh, hello Ryan. And he was like, Alex, like, oh yes, like I genuinely didn't know his name. uh, but she's super fun and a humanitarian, or so it would seem based on the show. Yeah, the first time I watched it, I definitely thought it was she was just joking around. The second time, you can really hear the honesty, and uh, and she says in the interview part later, like, "Oh, I genuinely didn't know." Excuse me. Uh, it's getting pretty late, and I'll see if I can finish cleaning this up in the next few minutes, and then I'll add words and bubbles during lunchtime tomorrow. At I say at work, at my desk right over here. Put on the right camera. No problem. Thanks for giving me people to talk at while I draw things. Oh, like I'm over here and you can't just talk at me whenever you feel like talking at things? Yeah, but that makes me crazy. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Well, you're, you know, the sweetest angel. Of course, I'll just talk to you, whatever. You help me get things off my chest. Oh, I see. And I just cause trouble. Yeah, that's all that you do. That's the only thing that you do. Yeah, the only other weird thing I discovered or realized, since I don't know, I've never really used Twitter, like a long time ago when I gave Milo a Twitter. I would try and write funny stuff on there like once or twice a day, and then I just kind of stopped bothering and just making cartoons instead. But like I said before, I try to when I put up a notification for the stream or whatever, um, or post a picture, instead of letting Instagram do it, I actually just post it on Twitter so that way it shows up instead of just having a link to Instagram. But usually when I do, I'll take a minute and look at, like I only follow a handful of people, so nothing extremely weird comes up. Just whatever, usually just Laser Sharks is mostly what I see when she posts things. But I will flip over to the like, hey, here's what's trending, here's what's going on, and I'll look at the trending list, and 90% of the time I'm like, don't care, don't want to know. But every once in a while there will be something where I'm just like, oh geez, like what's that all about? Like, uh-oh, did Paul Rudd die, or did he do something bad? Did he do something great? If it says somebody or something that I know of, and click on it and see, like, well, what's going on? Twitter is the only thing that knows everything. Like yesterday, Slack was down on the first day back to work. And Twitter was just like, whoa, what's going on? Like, I can't do my job without Slack. Or that's where my whole job is on Slack. Just this, workplace texting system, basically. And I'm just like, all right, well, I can see that it's broken, but for the most part, I can really do my job. I just can't upload anything to anybody right now. I can still do all the stuff that I need to do. It'll be back later on. But yeah, Twitter was all, oh my god. Well, if Slack's going to be down, like that means like we should probably just take this week off too, or at least another day, right? And part of me was like, yeah, we should. I would love to just go back to bed. The worst part about being off for a few days is getting back to doing stuff. I'm just like, no thanks. I'd much rather keep doing this thing. So whatever. That was useful. That's good. Twitter's helpful sometimes. The other thing though is Twitter is like so much more pervy and filthy and nakeder than I ever thought. Like I've gotten so used to Instagram being, all about the like, hey, that looks like a nipple. You're cut off for a few days, or we're just gonna delete this. Like, hey, this is whatever. Like everything is fairly heavily policed, and I've just gotten really used to that. So open up Twitter, and hey, just Star Wars is trending. Like, what's going on at Star Wars? Like, I'm gonna click this and see. And most of the time when I do click on these, it's 1,000 people just saying stuff, and it just happens to be also we're hashtagging this thing that everybody's hashtagging. But sometimes it'll be like, hey, here's something crazy you didn't realize was happening in the world, and that's why it's actually trending. Why was Star Wars trending? I don't know. I think just everybody was in the mood to say, like, yeah, we love The Mandalorian. Yeah, we love the ideas that are coming out for Star Wars. Yeah, new Star Wars stuff is going to be great, and we're loving it. I'm like, okay. But the first thing at the top of this Star Wars trending list that came up was somebody taking their phone / camera and taking a video pointed down at their crotch, and they're wearing, I think it was underwear, maybe it was pajamas. I think it was underwear, and it was like Star Wars Stormtrooper underwear, just underwear with a bunch of little Stormtrooper heads all over it, and it said like, I love Star Wars, or I love my Star Wars, something about loving Star Wars, and there was a full on, full blown engorgement within those Star Wars underwear. And it was being exacerbated movements exacerbating the engorgement. And I'm like, it's, I don't think I know anything about Twitter. I don't know anything about Twitter. Is this a twist? What? Turgid. Turgid. I remember the day that I taught Space Goonie's sister, Space Goonie's sister's girlfriend, and Ryan was also there. Other people were there, but those three were the ones. Something came up, and I did use the word turgid, and they were like, what does that word mean? Like, you don't know what the word turgid means? Oh, it means hard. Usually applied to the engorgement of genitalia. Using every other word that I can besides, man. That was a fun day for me. Ryan was very excited to learn the word turgid, and I assume he used it again and again for the rest of the weekend, or he forgot it immediately. Anyway, so there was that, and that's when I realized, like, oh, crazy, like Twitter is just like the regular internet, but except it's just like, here's my thought, new, like, hardcore GIFs, let's say, little video clips, or just slash, this is me and a lady that I met last night. I mean, you can't really see her genitals and my genitals just smashing. Anyway, I'm just gonna post this to Twitter more than once. But that's it. We talked to most of the characters. Except for me. I'm over here. Still keeping an eye on all of the things. And you keep on ignoring me. Yep, we sure do. But thanks for hanging out once again. Next week we'll do this again. And I don't know, we'll either have some more stories or I'll talk about what I'm drawing and how drawing works at some point in time. But mostly just the things that I see on the TV and in the neighborhood. The people that you meet when you're walking down the street. Anyway, next week. But yeah, like I said, thanks. If you are new, what are the numbers? All right, there's a few people that I don't know watching. If you are new, you can buy these comics at MrCurtoons.com. Follow on the Instagram for all of the updates there. Also Twitter and Facebook. All of the links are at MrCurtoons.com. And that's it for this week, I think. Meow. 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 That's right, Ripley. Cut to the end credits, and we'll do this again next week. Taking pictures of the thing I drew goes to my Instagram. You know that's how I do before the feed ends. And then I say goodbye to my stream friends.